It's great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Let me ask you this. In your written testimony, you touched on some of the values and opportunities that increased funding for EBSCOR could provide the department and our country overall. And you reiterated the department's commitment to ensuring that the next generation of scientists and engineers are more inclusive and diverse. So can you please speak to existing workforce needs in the energy sector, as well as the ways that DOE is currently seeking to enhance geographic diversity in research through initiatives like EBSCOR?
Well, thank you for that question. EBSCOR is a really, really important program. And the Office of Science has a long history, as you probably know, of supporting research at institutions represented and in the federal R&D landscape, including HBCUs and other minority-serving institutions through EBSCOR. It also recognizes the great value to increase the competitiveness and of underrepresented institutions, of which we have many really good ones, and is committed to increasing financial assistance to them, including those in EBSCOR eligible jurisdictions. What needs to, what I find when I go talk at institutions that don't have much federal funding, and many of them are in EBSCOR states that I have in my career, a lot of the problem is that the PIs at the faculty at those institutions really don't, oftentimes they're an institution that don't have the resources to put together a research office, or the research office is pretty limited, so their ability to get knowledge on how to apply for grants and how to get the funding and the kind of grantsmanship you need to do can be holding them back. And so what the Office of Science has been doing in DOE in general, in these COVID times in particular, is having many webinars in order to reach out to them. So it's not only the money, but it's being able to recruit and capture those that have the ideas but are afraid to apply, or they apply once and they get turned down and then they quit, which anyone that's experienced at this knows that you get turned down a lot and you just keep doing it. And so I think it's a combination of being able to have funding in our EBSCOR state institutions, but also to be able to get the knowledge to them and encouragement. And I think many of our program officers in the Office of Science are very good at this. It's just that we can always improve and be better. But I think it's important for the institutions also to recognize, to kind of push their PIs to keep trying, because we are merit-based. We make decisions based on merit, in addition to making certain that we are funding diverse institutions in other parts of the country besides just the Bay Area, Boston, and Boston and
Well,
Chicago.
as an EBSCOR state, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let me ask you this, because S3699 provides important funding for EBSCOR programs. And do you think that the grants that are opportunities in this legislation, as well as the fellowships, will help to enhance and further promote diversity in STEM?
Well, let me just give you what we have now in terms of 2021. The total support to universities in EBSCOR eligible jurisdictions was $125 million in the Office of Science, or 12% of the total support to provide it to universities, and $25 million of that total was provided through DOE EBSCOR programs. So we already give a lot of money to our universities in EBSCOR states that don't come through the regular EBSCOR program. So what I do have concerns about is establishing a quota in terms of a number that we need to meet for a percentage of the total research funding, because that would not be compatible with our principles of merit-based allocation of research funding, but also it would take a big chunk out of our merit-based research funding that's already tight for funding. So I think a balanced approach and continuing to work and to find those institutions in EBSCOR states where we can pull more people in is important, but not so keen on sort of a quota that's there. But I do think that we have a lot of incredibly talented young people in our EBSCOR states that are in remote areas at small colleges and universities. And I believe that one of the most important programs that we have to grab them are actually in our summer internships that we have at our DOE laboratories. I hear stories all the time about someone like myself that came from a fairly remote part of Kansas originally and went to a DOE lab in college, and so be it, here I am. But so I'm passionate about making certain that we're grabbing the talent that's out there, giving those, can I call them kids, the confidence that they can be successful, to be full participants, because we critically need them right now like we've never needed them before.
Yeah, thank you. Dr. Richmond, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Cortez